Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're going to be talking about the psychology of money and really breaking it down to fundamentally where your ideas or where your scripts kind of came from. Majority of it, if you're similar to me, have come from my parents. My parents unfortunately did struggle a majority of their life financially and still do the same, which I fall into one of these four scripts and most people do. So let's go ahead and check them out. Now, there are a couple of attachments when it comes to money when you look at psychologists, when you look at sociology, when you look at a lot of the different ologies out there, we tend to fall in certain patterns in certain relationships when it comes to finance. In fact, most of the behavior makes perfect sense when you understand the beliefs that fall behind it. And that is why, guys, over on CNBC, this article really hit home for me. It was really cool to see. The money scripts from avoidance to vigilance is kind of the spectrum. There are four, according to Clonsis research: money avoidance, money worship, money status, and money vigilant. Let's go ahead and run through all of those. Money avoiders is the first one. They have negative ideas about wealth and understanding or having less of it as morally sound. Now, this might sound kind of crazy because there are people who really do fundamentally think like this. As a result, they unconsciously do not allow themselves to save well, or money is kind of the self-destructive element in their behaviors, which is what we've seen again from a lot of people. I do financial counseling, and it is really something that a lot of people do believe in. They think that their parents never had money, so they're never going to have money, and so on and so forth. The cycle is going to continue until they really break it. Now, on the entire other end of the spectrum is money worshipers. Now, I know these guys as well. They believe wealth is the key to happiness, solving all of their problems. It is the people who say, well, if I only had $1 million, if I only had $5 million, all my problems would be solved. Everything would be happy. Everything would be great. It is where they put money up on a pedestal. They worship it. They spend way too much time with it, spend way too much of it. They overestimate the satisfaction, what you get from buying things. And again, that can be really self-conscious. That can be really demeaning and destructive to your self-worth. You really put it again on a pedestal, but you really see your status as where you are in life. The more that you are, or the more success that you see, the more you have to own. It's almost kind of similar to Keeping Up with the Joneses, but this is more of a self-centered approach. Now, money seekers, on the other hand, this is where their net worth is their self-worth. And again, I've dealt with a lot of these people as well, where the more money they have, the more they're worth, the more the status they have, the more money they have, kind of so on and so forth. Study find that these who grew up in households with financial struggles tend to be more vulnerable to later use money to seek status. So if you came from a not a wealthy family, if you didn't have a lot of, different things when you were growing up, we want to display status items to show people what we're worth. So we're prone to overspending and having higher credit card debt. Now, again, I know an entire segment of individuals that kind of stick to this, the money status, the seekers of where they overspend and they do not budget and they do not understand why they overspend. But again, psychology really tells us. And then the final category, people who fall into the fourth category, are money vigilant. They tend to be wealthy, but they have higher than average financial anxiety. Now think about that for a moment, guys. So the people who are in the fourth category that are very vigilant about money, that have wealth, that have created wealth, are much, much higher than average financial anxiety. So they've created this wealth, and they're really, one, prone to not spend it, two, not give it away, but three, really not enjoy life. You could be have so much anxiety around money, you hoard it, you don't enjoy life, you don't go on vacations, you don't spend time, out with your family where it costs money because you are looking to really hoard it. If you find yourself unhappy with the financial life, really reflect on the past, see where the fundamentals came from childhood. Again, me personally, I remember balancing checkbooks when I was very young, which was kind of crazy, but I learned how to do it, and financially being very, very responsible, very focused on the budgeting aspect. Take some time, interview your family members, be the archaeologist in your own family, figuring out what the beliefs of money are. Again, if you can pinpoint a majority of the time, the views and the fundamentals that your parents had are now the views and fundamentals that you carry. and that you will pass on to continuing generations. It is up to you guys if you want to break the cycle. One, being informed about it, knowing exactly what you can do, budgeting, making sure that you're not overextending with debt, making sure you're not keeping up with the Joneses, which is super expensive. So if your parents grew up poor, then your grandparents more than likely grew up poor. They might fear that they'll never have enough money. Then ask yourself, is that belief or that trend still well-founded? Is there a way, again, to kind of flip the script, to change the trend, to really change your stars within your family and change something else? For many of us, just being aware that we are living out a belief of our great grandparents can help us transform our relationship with money, which again, I wholeheartedly and truly believe that it is your choice, guys. You can choose to be poor. You can choose to be, the woe is me individual, which we see a lot of times. A lot of people that come from money have a lot of problems. A lot of people that didn't come from anything have absolutely, very, very minimal, or the way that they deal with the problems, again, really involves around money. Now, big picture, the way that I view it, guys, is when you look at money, it is a tool. That is it. It is a tool to get the things that you need in life. Now, again, depending on what things you're looking at in life, if you're a person, that takes a vacation every year, that gets a new car every 2 years, that wants to just upgrade a house and have a boat and a jet ski and, four-wheelers and side-by-side and having all of this, that's great. That is completely acceptable if, and this is the caveat, guys, a really big if you can budget for it. When it really becomes an issue, or fundamentally where people get in trouble, is when they get to the point of not being able to afford those monthly liabilities or those monthly payments. One, because the debt to income ratios are coming in too high, because they're overextended with the obligations for their money. Or when something happens, it is literally like dominoes, where they're selling things like wildfire, whether it's at a gain, whether it's at a loss, whatever it may be, to really scrounge and scrape to come up with money ASAP to really protect the major things, which are usually the home, or even the car, because fundamentally you need a house. You need a place to live, period. You need an automobile for a majority of us. If, the centralized transportation we cannot do, fundamentally you need a vehicle to get from A to B if you're going to the store, if you're going to work, whatever it may be. Those are the two really big necessities that hinge really on people's life. Now, also with that, guys, you can kind of delve a little deeper into it with what level do you need that? Do I need a $15,000 car that can take me to A and B that is not the nicest car in the world? Do I need a $30,000 car, a $50,000 car? Do I need a $100,000 Grand Wagoneer, a $150,000 Grand Wagoneer? Is it really worth the cost of it? Because remember, every dollar that you have, where you're spending it, means there is also a counterpart to that where you're not spending money. So if I'm putting $1,000 a month into a car payment instead of $600 a month into a car payment, the difference between that is that $400 window, which I could be retiring, I could be saving for retirement, you could be doing, a 401k, could be investing for your child's education, could be paying off debt. It really is time, guys, to take a wholehearted approach and look into your personal finances, budget it out, see exactly where you're at, see what you have to cut if you have to cut, see where you can also beef up some of those savings accounts, some of those IRAs, some of those investment accounts, college plans, definitely allowing those to really or eliminate debt. All right, guys, so that'll do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.